Chapter 2: How We've All Arrived Here Together. Once again, the year 2025. Globally, everything looks and feels like chaos. Prices continue to rise. Wages continue to drop. Opportunities for employment are non-existent. It feels like something is being phased out. It feels like there's nowhere to run. What is happening? Due to the collective implementation of a global economy in recent human history, this condition now seems to affect humanity on a collective level, as in all of us, no matter what language we speak, no matter where we may be from. With technology and the internet bringing many instant connection and gratification, it is mystifying as to why we seem more unaware of our shared problem than we've ever been. On the plus side, the generous and instantaneous flow of information we've created could help us all wake up to our predicament to some degree. That is, if we were willing to look at it. The imperative question is, can we all look within ourselves and be willing to accept this urgent necessitation of realization and also change? Unfortunately, in my opinion, I think this may be the focal point at which the outlook becomes harrowing or even grim. The solution to fix many of these shared issues would require of all individuals a shift in consciousness toward complete mindfulness and heartfulness of the self and of others. People would have to be willing to shift their entire world and self-view away from one of ego to one of interconnectedness, consequences, and humble servitude. This would mean servitude toward positive character formation and focus on nurturing fellow man and kind, rather than exploiting the immediate environment around them for immediate personal gain. Unfortunately, on the other side of this as well, with people so deeply embedded with the concept of ego self, and having a mirror such as social media to reflect it, this seems to instill more bad habits and self-conceited ideas within them than ever. They may be positioned to care about their self-limited view of reality versus accepting within themselves they may have to change a few things and shift away from it however they can. Considering that humanity is already presently consumed by that war of material and ego, the longer that established systems continue to enable their self-invented falsehoods, the less likely it is and the more impossible it becomes to wake them up, to wake ourselves up, and to look toward the light of objective truth about our condition, what we do, what we choose, and what it brings us. And it lowers our chances of ever dodging the avalanche of bad karma that it has already generated and is already befalling us. Even worse than this, there are many power broker type of individuals who stand in positions of artificial authority under the current system as it is now. They are in no way ready to release the falsehoods, no matter how bad it gets for anybody. Thanks to our pyramidal-shaped hierarchical systems, these particular beings know there's a multitude of people caught in the net of the rungs below them, and thus the ones in charge become one of the last to face real consequences for their poor choices, no matter how many people they hurt. Further, these elitists are also the last to ever feel, experience, or empathetically understand the plight of their fellow man, quote, below them, and they have no incentive to. Considering all of this, it is my perception and opinion that mankind is caught in a trap of its own making. The majority continue to enable and accept this behavior from, quote, elected leadership, and just give them the green light. Any concept which poorly attempts to mimic the idea of peace and prosperity by them, for all, under any of the false conditions discussed here, are doomed to be limited to only lies and failure. Yet we perpetually never see this. We are always forced by this system to price each other out of life and into an oblivion of unbridled greed. Again reiterating, by law of nature and balance, this can only lead to suffering the same fate we supply to others, no matter our level of influence and control. If we are one rung above somebody else, we can't abuse it. It'll come right back to us. Our current collective system, as it stands right now, is incredibly fragile. In fact, it's the opposite of what you were taught. It was never too big to fail. The ones who created it need you to believe that, so they can keep seeping up the energy. They can keep stealing from you. They can keep controlling you, and they keep you self-controlled. This delusion requires, from all participants, a willful ignorance and a turning of the blind eye to perpetuate itself. A willing to participate every single day, despite better instincts or second thoughts. Our currencies are now nothing more than imaginary numbers on a screen or slips of paper with cryptic symbols on them. I must continue to emphasize to you, with no direct material backing to them, they are entirely worthless. Yet humans allow these numbers to fully dictate their lives and the lives of others. As I speak about this in the year of 2025, a great normality is being pushed for the 60 to 80-hour work week. This is quite insane to me. Humans give all of the time allotted for spiritual development and cultivation of nature away for this, without hesitation. To run in and fight like soldiers in the war of the material, which endlessly eats from us all with no break in sight. With such numbers perpetually climbing, I surmise it may only be a matter of time before collapse from their artificial height, as our basic standards of living become increasingly unattainable, must fall. Even for the ones at the bottom of the systems, the lower classes, the have-nots, they are the ones who are supposed to build and enable the foundation that allows for our consumption, working their blue-collar service jobs, their food service jobs. They're supposed to feed and clean and house us all, are they not? If they can't afford rent, if they can't get a car, how do they go in to serve this horrendous, never-ending void of existence? This is the mode we seem to find ourselves in. And what are we going to do about it? Do you hear anyone, even in the mainstream media, producing or proposing any actual solutions to any of the problems I just mentioned here? Are we doomed to continue eating ourselves? Are we doomed to just allowing it to fall apart? Could anything at all be done to resolve this? Unfortunately, to continue discussing this topic, I'm going to have to narrow it down to current world time and events. As it stands in 2025, my opinion is that the evil North American empire is going to be the one to face the chopping block next. And because of our unwillingness to accept this fact, it's delaying the process. It is disabling us to prepare for this event in a possible future if you wish to survive and overcome such a concept. As I have discussed previously, there is no way that nature itself can compensate for the perpetual imbalance that our material appetite possesses. Meaning, nature could never produce enough to satiate all of these things we think we are entitled to. Weekly shopping trips, overgorging ourselves on bad foods, and things of that nature. Nor can nature ever produce, probably enough medicine to counteract the diseases and sicknesses that these horrible habits produce within ourselves. On top of this, North America is maybe about 15% of the world's population, give or take, overall sucking up 25% of the globe's resources. And when you put that into perspective, it's very hard to be able to just sit there and say to yourself, okay, how am I not the bad guy for stealing all of these things and pillaging all of these things and taking innocent lives just to line my pocketbook? In the name of protection, no less. I hate to break it to everybody. They're going to have a really hard time accepting that, but that is what we have done. Those are the only reasons that North America ever required, or I should say acquired, the material privileges which now exist within it. And because we have become so entitled to those things and think they should be instantaneous and everyone else should just bow down to our whim and give it over, whether we have the money or not, whether we go into debt or not, whether we lie about what's in our pocketbook or not. It's completely absurd. I feel like the world is going to realize what position we are in and turn heel on it quickly, especially as we continue to charge these absurd fees to be in the Cool Kids Club, but we realize nobody wants to be in the Cool Kids Club because we don't know how to spell Cool Kids Club. It's that kind of a situation. And so when you are living among a population like that, with all of these entitlements, the greediness, the instantaneous give it to me now, and on top of that you have blatant stupidity, inability to think for yourself, inability to read above a third grade level, inability to understand basic math and science, and also unwillingness to, because we all have pocket computers, to do the thinking for us now. We are just fodder. We are just asking for an ass kicking. We are just begging for somebody to stomp their boot down on our throats. It's probably our turn, because over the last couple of centuries we've existed, that's all we've ever done to anybody else. And once again, this goes back to my discussion regarding karma. Do you think that you're going to impose all of these things on other populations, even groups like the Native Americans who belonged here on this land first? You think you're just going to whip it out from under them and kill nearly all of their entire group of people with no repercussions down the line. You think nothing else is going to come back for you. You think the sheer physical brute force and intimidation by maybe some form of intellectualism, but not really, is going to save you. I highly, highly doubt it. And if anyone here listening is interested in surviving the times that are upcoming, I really, really suggest you yourself move away from this idea that the USA is the greatest, that they are the best, and that their democracy can function without fail. It's no longer a democracy at this point of time I'm speaking in. It is one giant corporation owned by billionaires, and we see it turning heel this very moment and revealing what it is. No matter which side you think you stand on, no matter what labels you identify with within these complex ideas, the system is not what you were taught it was. It may have been at one time what you believe it to be now, but it sold out much longer ago. They just didn't tell you. So now that we have all of these issues on our hands, it seems like there's only one train track or one road this entire scenario can go down. And I implore you to consider that. I implore you to look at that, as painful as it might be to accept or consider. No one else in the world wants to consider standing down to some playground bully who's punching the lunch money out of people. Nobody wants that. And we were the bully a long time ago. We were the bully when we started invading these countries decades ago. In the name of safety, in the name of protection, in the name of power, but no. We were actually just there to grip things like oil or opiates or other natural resources that pay high dollar to process. It was never about imposing our culture on other people. It was never about saving people. It was never about industrializing them. We did it all as this current modern evil empire in the name of ourselves. And we pulled so many tricks. We pulled so many lies. We fudged so many numbers. And that's just where the cards lay right now. There is no Superman to come in and save us from these lies that were for so many years unchecked and perpetuated to not have severe repercussions. The best I would suggest to anybody listening is to stop trying to live like that. Let that go. Let that creature die, because it is sitting on the chopping block. And realize, look within yourself for a shred of humility. Humility may be the only thing that will save any number of people who are willing to shift away from such ideas. Having humility means you know you're not entitled to everything that the world contains. Humility means knowing that you won't take it with you when you leave this realm. Humility means knowing that there's no greater character or facade that anybody could put up to give you a good line of credit to snatch any of these things up, to maintain this evil lifestyle that, yes, all of us have been a part of, all of us have lied to ourselves about.